We age quickly, but loneliness creeps in quietly and lingers. This sentiment might resonate deeply with many of us, prompting a moment of reflection. Have you ever felt lost, even within the comfort of your own home, surrounded by familiar things? Especially as your body begins to weaken, aches and pains become more frequent, and the attention of loved ones feels increasingly out of reach. Old age brings challenges that only those living through them can truly understand. In your younger years, you may have devoted yourself to your family, nurturing and loving your children and grandchildren. But as your health declines, have you ever wondered, do they recognize those sacrifices? Or has something as simple as a warm hand or a caring word become an unattainable luxury? You are not alone in feeling this way. These emotions are not just yours to bear. Together, let us embark on a journey where real-life stories of neglect and indifference, but also of deep understanding and unconditional love, show us that we are not isolated in our struggles. Amid the trials of aging and illness, familial bonds often become the ultimate test of love and sometimes the most meaningful part of life. Through these stories, you'll discover valuable lessons, not only to bring comfort to yourself, but also to help you embrace aging with grace and peace. Let us explore these genuine emotions together and seek tranquility for the soul. Take this time for yourself to listen, reflect, and if you find these stories meaningful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Each video is an opportunity to connect more deeply with one another and with ourselves. Join me as we continue this journey toward understanding and inner peace. Story 1. John, Lisa, and Sarah. Family conflicts and elder care. John, Lisa, and Sarah are siblings from a middle-class family living in the United States. Their parents, Michael and Judith, are in their 80s and their health is declining. Michael suffers from heart disease, and Judith has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. For years, they managed to live independently at their home, but as their conditions worsened, they could no longer care for themselves without assistance. John, the eldest, lives a few hours' drive from his parents. He has a stable job with a good income, but his demanding work schedule means he travels frequently and seldom visits. John feels he contributes by sending money each month for their parents to hire caregiver help. Lisa, the middle child, lives the closest, only a 20-minute drive away. She works part-time, allowing her frequent visits to help with daily tasks. However, as their mother's Alzheimer's advanced, Lisa quit her job to become the primary caregiver for both parents. She feels the burden growing but doesn't complain, viewing it as her duty. Sarah, the youngest, lives several hundred miles away in another city, managing a small business and caring for her 2 young children. Her busy personal life and distance mean she only visits a few times a year. Though she loves her parents, her responsibilities and distance limit her involvement in their care. Tensions rise as Lisa feels overwhelmed with her caregiving responsibilities. She has sacrificed her career and well-being without much help from John, who only sends money, and Sarah, who visits infrequently. Lisa requests that her siblings share more caregiving responsibilities, not just financially. John argues that his financial contributions and busy job prevent him from visiting more often. He believes he is fulfilling his duty by providing financial support and hiring help. Sarah feels her own family and distance justify her limited involvement, insisting that it's more practical for Lisa, who lives nearby, to handle their parents' care. The conflict escalates when Lisa suggests placing their parents in a nursing home, unable to continue alone without more support. John and Sarah strongly oppose, citing the cost and their desire for their parents to stay in their familiar home. They fail to understand the daily pressures Lisa faces. The siblings argue heatedly about their responsibilities and how to best care for their parents. Ultimately, no solution is found. Lisa feels abandoned, both emotionally and physically exhausted from caring for their parents alone. John continues to believe his financial support suffices, and Sarah maintains her stance that her life is too removed to offer more help. Michael and Judith are heartbroken, their pain from their illnesses compounded by watching their children dispute their care. The family rift not only deepens, but also makes the elderly couple feel like burdens. an unintended consequence of their lifelong sacrifices. This story concludes not with a perfect solution, but as a lesson for both the elderly and their children. When health fails, what parents need most isn't just physical care, but emotional connection, understanding, and unity from their children. Indifference and arguments not only break their hearts, but also make their final days lonelier and more sorrowful. Story 2. David and his mother. Indifference and loneliness. David is a successful man living in New York. After graduating from college, he quickly started a family and career, moving away from the home where his mother, Margaret, had lived her entire life. Margaret, a widow, lives alone in their old house in a small town. Initially, David called and visited occasionally, but over time, calls became brief and visits scarce. Margaret lives quietly, tending to the house she once shared with her husband and son. She spends her days reading, gardening, and occasionally talking with neighbors. As she aged, daily chores like cleaning or shopping became burdensome. Her health declined, joints ached, and she often felt dizzy when standing up. Whenever she called David, Margaret tried not to complain about her health. She didn't want to bother him, knowing he was busy with his work and family. However, her loneliness grew. On holidays, she would sit by the window, hoping David might surprise her. But the afternoons passed in silence. One winter morning, Margaret was reaching for a book when she slipped and fell hard. Unable to get up, she lay on the cold floor, trying to call David, but no one answered. Hours passed in agony and solitude, ticking by in the silent house. She had thought herself still capable of self-care, but now realized she needed help, a reality she had been reluctant to admit. Fortunately, a neighbor who came to deliver some cookies discovered her and called an ambulance. At the hospital, when David got the call, he immediately came. Seeing his frail, exhausted mother on the hospital bed filled him with regret. Margaret didn't scold, but her sad eyes and silence spoke volumes. In those moments, David realized how neglectful he had been. Hospital stay. Margaret's hospital days were quiet. Nurses checked on her health and brought meals. But what she really wanted was David's presence. Although he visited, there was a palpable distance between them. David sat quietly by her bed, offering words of comfort, but they struggled to find anything more to talk about. Margaret knew her son was busy, but it saddened her to feel that even his visits seemed obligatory. At night, alone in her hospital room, Margaret wondered, what had she done wrong to cause such a gap between her and her son? She remembered the closeness they had when David was a boy. They laughed and shared everything, but now, she felt more like a burden than a beloved mother. After leaving the hospital, doctors advised that Margaret needed regular care, so David arranged for a caregiver to assist her daily. On the surface, everything seemed fine. Margaret was well cared for physically, with help moving around, cooking, and cleaning, but her emotional loneliness persisted. Despite the physical help, the emotional void remained unfilled. David's visits, frequent during her hospital stay, dwindled as he returned to his busy life. Each time he called, Margaret put on a brave face, but inside, she felt hollow. She didn't blame David, understanding his limited time, but the pain of his indifference lingered. Every evening, Margaret sat by the window, watching the empty road, remembering when David, a small boy, would run home from school, wildflowers in hand for her. The house stood unchanged, but the joy of family had faded over time. Margaret didn't need lavish gifts or care. All she wanted was genuine affection from her son, a warm presence, and a sense of being an important part of his life. Dear friends, in life, as long as things go smoothly, relationships tend to be harmonious and joyful. But it's only when difficulties arise that we truly see who is willing to stand by us. Similarly, in families, it's only when parents become ill that we discover the true nature of our children. Some whom we trusted completely may fall short, while others, less demonstrative but deeply sincere, prove themselves when most needed. Margaret's story serves as a reminder for us all about the values that need cherishing and the correct recognition in caring for our parents. After hearing those two stories, how do you feel? Do these stories remind you of your own situation or that of someone close to you? We would love to hear your thoughts, feelings, and experiences regarding this issue. Please share your story in the comments section to discuss and learn from each other. If you find this video valuable and want to join us on our journey to spread meaningful messages about family, please click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our latest stories. Thank you for taking the time to listen and share. Genuine filial piety is not about grand words or superficial gestures. It's about quiet dedication that comes from the heart, a deep understanding of love and duty toward one's parents. Often, when parents are healthy, we may take our responsibilities lightly or believe that providing material support is enough. But when they become ill and need care and comfort, we are faced with the true essence of filial duty. True filial piety is being there when your parents need you, in small actions that are filled with deep love. It's not about reluctant responsibility, but about the joy of giving back. It's easy to say we love our parents, but true love is proven by being willing to stand by them during their toughest times. Caring for our parents is not just about fulfilling a duty. It's about preserving family values and ethics, serving as a beacon for future generations to follow. In the next part of the video, we will listen to two touching stories about filial piety. One story comes from Eastern culture, highlighted by devotion and sacrifice, and the other from Western culture, illustrating love and responsibility toward one's parents. Both stories will help us better understand the enduring value of filial piety, regardless of cultural background. The story of Aeneas, a symbol of filial piety in Western culture. Aeneas is one of the most famous heroes in Roman mythology, known through Virgil's epic The Aeneid. He is the son of the goddess Venus, Aphrodite, and Anchises, a mortal man, a brave warrior. Aeneas was destined with a crucial mission: to lead the survivors of the Trojan War to new lands and found a great lineage, the Roman people. After Troy was devastated by the Greeks, the city ablaze and in ruins, Aeneas faced a difficult decision: flee to save his life or stay and fight. However, filial duty and family responsibility prompted Aeneas to choose a third path. He not only looked out for himself but was also determined to save his elderly father, Anchises, and his son, Ascanius. Aeneas's father, Anchises, was old and unable to escape the city on his own. Initially, Anchises refused to leave Troy, wanting to die with his homeland. But Aeneas would not accept this. With all his filial devotion and determination, he convinced his father that they needed to survive to fulfill the mission the gods had entrusted to them. Without hesitation, Aeneas carried his father on his shoulders, led his son Ascanius by the hand, and guided his family and other survivors out of burning Troy. The image of Aeneas carrying his father, with the flames of Troy raging around them, is a powerful symbol of filial piety. Aeneas faced countless dangers as the Greek army surrounded them, but he steadfastly protected his family, refusing to let his father be abandoned. Their journey was not easy. Amid the chaos, Aeneas's wife, Creusa, got lost and vanished. Although heartbroken by the loss of his wife, Aeneas understood that his greater responsibility was to continue leading the survivors, especially his elderly father and son, to safety. Eventually, they escaped from Troy and continued their long journey to Italy, where Aeneas would fulfill his destiny to found the Roman civilization. Along the way, Aeneas's father, Anchises, passed away before seeing his son's success. However, Aeneas's dedication and filial piety to his father became a symbol of loyalty and responsibility in Western cultural history. Aeneas was not only a hero in battle, but also an exemplar of filial piety and personal sacrifice for the family. He carried his father not just with physical strength, but with love, responsibility, and a shared belief in a noble mission they were destined to accomplish together. The story of Dongving, a model of filial piety in Chinese culture. Dongving, a figure renowned in Chinese history for his filial piety, was born into a poor family. Despite their poverty, from a young age, his parents instilled in him the virtues of ethics and gratitude towards his progenitors. As a result, Dongving always loved and cared for his parents deeply, despite the family's dire financial circumstances. Dongving's story begins with his family's poverty. Dongving's family lived day to day on earnings from odd jobs. His parents were elderly and no longer able to work, and he was their only son. Despite the hard labor he endured from dawn to dusk, Dongving always managed to provide adequately for his parents. He maintained a positive spirit, never complaining about the hardships or fatigue, wishing only for his parents to live their last years in peace. One day, Dongving's father fell seriously ill. With no money for medical treatment, Dongving had to work double or even triple shifts to afford medicine for his father. Despite his efforts, his father passed away. Losing his father was a profound sorrow, but Dongving did not let grief defeat him. He continued to pour all his love and care into looking after his frail mother, when hardship pushed him to desperate measures. After his father's death, the family's situation grew even more desperate. It seemed everything was collapsing when Dongving could not earn enough to support his ailing mother. Despite everything, Dongving decided to take a drastic and heart-wrenching step. He sold himself into slavery to provide for his mother. He approached a wealthy and influential local lord, asking him to buy his servitude. Dongving expressed his willingness to be a slave for life if it meant securing enough money to care for his mother. Initially surprised by Dongving's offer, the lord was moved by the young man's boundless filial devotion. He agreed to purchase Dongving, giving him a significant sum of money for his mother's care. Filial piety that touched heaven and earth. When Dongving returned home with the money from selling himself, he immediately used it all to care for his mother. Though it meant leaving his mother and living as a slave for life, Dongving never complained. To him, caring for his mother was the noblest purpose in life. Before leaving to serve as a slave, he hugged his mother and wept, hoping she could live healthily with the money he had earned. Dongving began his life of servitude to the Lord, working tirelessly from morning until night. Despite the harsh conditions, Dongving always remembered his mother at home. He worked diligently, patiently, and without resenting his fate. However, his filial piety did not go unnoticed. It even reached the celestial realms. Touched by Dongving's filial piety, a fairy descended from heaven to help him. She used her magic to free Dongving from slavery and granted him a new life free from poverty. Moreover, the fairy helped him reunite with his mother, allowing them to spend their remaining days together in peace and happiness. The meaning of the story. The story of Dongving is one of the brightest examples of filial piety in Chinese culture. Dongving was not only willing to sacrifice his own freedom to care for his elderly mother, but he also demonstrated unconditional love for his parents. This story has become a symbol of dedication, loyalty to parents, and family responsibility. Dongving's filial piety extended beyond mere actions to become a moral value, reminding descendants of their duties to their parents. This is why the story has been passed down through generations and remains a valuable lesson in filial respect within Eastern culture. Dear friend, as we age, our bodies become frail, and our health deteriorates. What we need from our children is not just material things but genuine care and love. Old age brings with it worries about health, loneliness, and increasing dependence on our children. In times of illness, when our strength wanes, we need not only physical care but also comfort, understanding, and presence from the children we have loved and nurtured throughout our lives. 1. Presence and genuine care. Above all, in old age, what parents desire most is the presence of their children. Parents do not always need grand gestures of care. Sometimes, just being there, holding a hand, or a caring inquiry is enough. This presence brings a sense of security and immense emotional comfort. As the outside world becomes distant in old age, and isolation feels imminent, a visit or a brief phone call can be a healing balm, making us feel that despite the passage of time, the bond of family remains intact as in the days when we were young and our children small in our arms. The greatest pain in old age is not physical pain but the feeling of being forgotten. When children are busy with their lives and careers, we often wonder if they still think of us. We don't blame them, knowing everyone has their lives and responsibilities, but we still silently hope for a bit of care, a bit of love, The presence of children reassures us that we are still important, not a burden, but an indispensable part of their lives. 2. Understanding and patience. As age makes us weaker and more dependent, what we need from our children is not just physical care but understanding. Parents do not expect their children to do everything perfectly, but they yearn for patience and compassion. Deteriorating health not only takes away our ability to care for ourselves, but also can make us irritable, anxious, and sometimes inadvertently harsh, causing discomfort to our children. But deep down, parents never want to be a burden. Moments of irritability or discomfort are often expressions of fear and insecurity. We worry about losing our independence, that no one can care for us indefinitely. In these moments, what parents need from their children is understanding and patience, gentle reassurances, patience in assisting with simple tasks like dressing or medication, make us feel loved and valued despite our age. 3. Comfort and sharing. When parents are frail, what they need most is not to feel alone. Our lives were once filled with responsibilities, work, and interactions with children and friends, but now, everything seems to drift away, leaving behind silence and loneliness. When children are not around often, we can feel abandoned, as if our lives have lost meaning. In those moments, a word of comfort, a share from the children, is the most valuable thing. We do not expect our children to devote all their time to us, but encouraging words, conversations about their lives, about what's happening, help us feel still connected to the world, that we still matter. 4. Filial piety stemming from love, not obligation. One of the most heartbreaking things for parents in old age is the feeling that children care for them out of duty, not love. Caring for parents should not be a burden reluctantly borne by children, but should come from genuine love. For parents, even the smallest caring act, if it comes from the heart, provides great comfort. They don't need perfection, but they need to feel that their children really want to take care of them, not out of societal or moral compulsion. When children care for their parents with love, parents feel it. They feel secure and happy, no longer worried about being a burden. For parents, feeling loved is incredibly valuable, especially in their final years. 5. Respect and independence. Even though health may decline, parents still wish to be respected and retain some independence. Many children, when caring for their parents, may think they need to manage everything, from life decisions to minor tasks. But what parents really want is to still be able to make decisions about their own lives, at least in small matters. When children listen to their parents' opinions, respect their wishes and choices, it not only shows respect but also helps parents feel valued. They don't want to become completely dependent, losing control over their lives. Even when they need help, parents want to feel that they can still take care of themselves in some aspects. 6. Gratitude and love. In the end, what parents hope for most from their children is not material wealth or extravagant gifts, but sincere gratitude and love. After a lifetime of sacrifice, care, and teaching, parents don't ask for much, just to hear heartfelt words like, "Thank you, Mom and Dad," or "I love you." Sometimes, these simple words carry more meaning than anything else. As parents grow older, they need more than just physical support. They long for the warmth and appreciation that only their children can provide. Moments of love and genuine care not only ease the hardships of old age, but also strengthen the bonds between generations, creating a family connection that endures. Gratitude and love are the most precious gifts you can give to your parents, not just today, but throughout the rest of their journey. If you find these messages meaningful, please share them to spread love and remind others of the importance of gratitude. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated on our upcoming videos. Together, we'll continue to explore inspiring stories and profound lessons to bring families closer and make every life more meaningful. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.